Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, then welcome. My name is Stine. I am a 33-year-old knitter living just outside of Oslo here in beautiful Norway. Today I am going to share my knitting intentions for 2026. So this is going to be quite a chatty video. There's not going to be any projects, yarn, finished objects, anything like that. I'm just going to sit here and yat at the camera, and if that's not your cup of tea, you are perfectly welcome to skip this one. If you are interested in hearing what my vision and my intentions for my knitting in 2026 are, then you are welcome to stick around. At the beginning of every year, I like to make some intentions for my knitting. These aren't like set goals or rules, but there are some like guidelines or just intentions really for my year, which I find help me like stay on track for what I really want to achieve with my knitting. I'm not straying off course or just jumping on every trend or stuff like that. I just had to grab a pillow to sit on because my body is kind of aching. I'm currently pregnant. I'm halfway through my pregnancy, give or take. So my body's hurting and I needed a pillow to sit on because I still prefer sitting on the floor for these videos. I don't know where to sit if not on the floor in front of the window to get some nice lights. So I'm going to just start sharing and talking, and we'll see how long this video ends up being. So my first and probably most important intention is to continue viewing knitting as a hobby. I don't want to get stressed about how much or how little I am knitting. I saw someone finishing more than 100 objects last year, and although they probably had the time and they loved doing that, I finished 16 projects in 2025 and I found that completely fine. Like, it wasn't my best knitting year in terms of like number of finished objects, but I enjoyed the pieces I made. I was able to make a few gifts and the time I had to knit, I really enjoyed knitting. So that is something I want to continue on, and just recognizing that this is a hobby. It's not something I do to earn money. It's not something I do professionally or as a job. It is something I do to unwind, to relax. And the moment I start chasing goals or start chasing number of objects finished and stuff like that, I don't find it as relaxing and fun anymore. So that is the most important thing, I believe, for myself. The next one is knitting instead of scrolling my phone. I am in a bad place at the moment when it comes to scrolling on my phone. I do work in social media, so my interest for scrolling my phone is quite high and viewing content and getting inspiration, but I scroll way too much, and I would love to be able to pick up something to knit or even a book to read or something instead. So I kind of have to figure out a strategy for keeping some knitting close by. I do have a toddler, so just leaving it out isn't like an option. I need it contained and safe, but not too far out of reach. So I would like to find a solution for that. And that kind of is a transition into the next intention, which is having multiple projects at once at different stages. That way I would always have something to pick up. Primarily I would really like to have like smaller accessories and stuff that is just in pure stockinette, that is easy to just grab, put down at a moment's notice, and just keep in my fingers when I'm watching like children's TV with my daughter or stuff like that. And that I'm not too precious about. Like, if she would be able to get it and she pulls out some of the stitches and it unravels, it would be easy to just fix it, that it's not like color work, or it's not something that's complicated to mend, but it's just putting it back, picking up a few stitches and going. Because I really do enjoy that she has an interest in knitting and in yarn, and she's constantly saying that she really wants to knit with me. So having a few projects that she's allowed to touch and allowed to explore would also be really handy. So just having multiple projects in rotation, I think would help with that. Now, next up is I would really like to find a spot in my house where I can take pictures of myself in my finished objects and make reels. Because although I do want to treat this as a hobby, and this primarily is my hobby, I also really enjoy sharing on the internet, which is probably why I ended up working with social media in the first place. But at the moment, I don't really know where that spot is in my house. Like, this is a nice spot for filming, like, because of all of the natural light I get through the windows, but my enormous TV is in the background. And although that is like, it's fine for a video, that's not what I want for like my photos. So I need to find a few spots, like in front of the bookcase is really beautiful, but our dining room table is also there. So maybe when we redo our bedrooms and like get them decorated and done, I would be able to make like a little corner in there or something, even in a children's bedroom, just something that would be a nice backdrop for my photos. So I really need to keep that in mind when we are redoing the bedrooms this spring, or even finding somewhere downstairs where it would be nice to take some pictures and photos. That would just make it easier for me, because now I find that I don't really know where to take these photos, and then I end up just not taking any. And I find that I don't have as many pictures of knitting and finished objects and progress photos and stuff to share on my Instagram, which is what I would really like to share on my Instagram. So I need to find places for that. I had places for it in our past apartments, but it's not that long since we moved into the house, so it's not that strange that I haven't figured this out yet. There's just been so much to do in the house that's been more important than finding a location for photos. But sometime during the spring, I hope I'll have that figured out. Now, next up is a quite big one, an important one, I believe, for me, and that is being more intentional about how I plan to style a finished object before I knit it. I really want garments that fit well into my existing wardrobe and not just knit whatever is trending at the moment. I find myself sometimes thinking, oh, I need more cardigans. I don't have any cardigans. But then as soon as it's finished, I have no idea how to wear it, how to style it, how to incorporate it into my wardrobe. And every time I think about it, I'm like, maybe I'm just not a cardigan wearer. Maybe I should have thought of that before I knit that cardigan. And then some other cardigan comes up and I'm like, oh, that's a really beautiful pattern, I really want to knit that. So this is like an endless cycle of seeing beautiful things I want to knit and not knowing how to wear it within my wardrobe. So this is not just about color and fit, but it's also about the style. And it needs to go with stuff that's in my wardrobe. And I really should take out all of my knitted pieces, sort through them, find a decent way to store them, because now they are kind of stored all over the place. Some are in drawers, some are in another drawer, some are hanging in a closet somewhere, and I just don't have the overview of my knit pieces. So I really should get cracking at that. It doesn't help that I'm pregnant, so my wardrobe is just a mishmash of stuff that doesn't fit at the moment and stuff like that. So I need to go through my wardrobe anyways before spring and summer arrives, so I don't have to go through so much clothes every morning to figure out what still fits and what would be nice to wear. And as we are sorting our way through this house and getting more settled, I think that would come more naturally, that I know where I store my different kind of clothes, where I can store my chunkier knits for winter and stuff like that. But yeah, just having a more sense of how I want to style something before I knit it, I think that would save me a lot of time. But yeah, having a clearer vision of how I'm going to style something would definitely help on knowing what to knit, what yarn, how I want it to drape, all of that stuff. And also I think this ties in a little bit about where to take the photos, because if I am able to take more outfit photos or outfit videos with my garments, I might get a clearer view of what I am wearing, what styles do I tend to go for, more raglans, more drop shoulders, oversized, fitted, like what kind of pieces do I wear for different occasions, for work, for my free time. And I would love to be able to make those outfit videos because I find watching how other people style their knitwear is really inspirational. And sometimes the sharing kind of stops at sharing a photo of the finished object, and I don't really see the knits in when they are being worn, or maybe I see them once, but I would love to be able to see more outfits with the same pieces and rewears and be able to make that kind of content myself, just because I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, those kind of tie in together with the more styling and wardrobe aspect of it all. Next up is to continue logging my yarn stash in the Knit and Note app, and also sort through all of my paraphernalia like buttons, elastics and stuff like that. After the move, I shoved most of my stuff just into the cupboards that I bought for all of my yarn and sewing equipment, and that's completely fine. But now I have to sift through so many boxes and so much stuff to find something I think I might have. Like I was looking for buttons for a baby cardigan the other day, and the amount of time it took me to find any kind of buttons that would work was just ridiculous. And I was close to just throwing everything back into the cupboard and just buy something new, which is stupid when I do have a lot of stuff. So I want to save money on those kind of things and not run out and buy it every time, even though I have it. So just organizing, cleaning up, maybe selling some of the stuff I know I won't be using. That would be really nice for my brain, I think, to know that when I need buttons, I can go into my cupboard and I know where the buttons are. That would give me a lot of peace of mind. Also, I've come quite far when it comes to logging my yarn stash in the Knit and Note app. I really like that app for knowing how much yarn I have, logging how much I use. I love seeing the statistic at the end of the month and the end of the year, how much yarn I used in terms of both kilos and meters. I really love statistics. So that's really nice, and it also helps me keep an overview of active projects. I need to be better at putting in what needles I'm using and the gauge and the size and stuff like that, because sometimes I'll grab the needles from a project for something else, put the project down, and there it hibernates for 6 months and I have no idea what needles I used for it. So I need to be more meticulous when starting a project to log all of those details. And although I am a sucker for like a beautiful Moleskine notebook, I find it really handy to have it digitally, because that means I'll have access to it both on my phone and on my iPad. And I use either of those to read my patterns, because I just think it's more practical than having the paper lying around, especially with that toddler before mentioned, that just takes it, puts it somewhere, preferably under this sofa, which is really heavy, so it's not like I can just pull that forward every time she puts something under the sofa. The other day she tried to put my phone under the sofa because she was using it as a torchlight to find some balls or something, I don't know. But yeah, I find it really handy to have those things digitally, which also means I always have an updated log on how much yarn I'm using and all of that, all of those goodies. So continuing logging my stash, I haven't logged like scrap yarn and stuff like that. I think I will just whenever I am knitting from scraps, I'll just put it in as some random merino yarn just to get the weight and an approximate feeling on how many meters the project took and stuff like that. I'm not going to measure like tiny scraps and leftover yarns, but everything new will be weighed and put in, so I'll know how much I have. And on that note, I also really want to continue forcing myself, or like not forcing, but trying to knit 2 projects from stash before buying yarn for a new one. That means I won't accumulate huge amounts of yarn. And I have recently accumulated a huge amount of yarn, so I have a lot in stash that I really need to knit from, and it's all beautiful yarn, so I'm really looking forward to using my stash more this year. For quite a while last year, all of my yarn and my stash was packed up in moving boxes and put in storage for when we moved, so I didn't have access to it, which also really depleted my inspiration to knit. So this year it's better because I have it all in the same room in beautiful cupboards, all organized. I just need to organize my stuff like the buttons and all of that. Now, next up is a intention that I've been having for the last few years, which is to not be afraid of projects that might take a long time to knit. For me, it's not always because a project is too complicated to knit that makes it take a lot of time. It's just that I don't have a lot of focus time to knit, so like cables, color work and stuff where you need to like sit down and concentrate more. I don't have like a lot of continuous hours to sit down and knit, being the mom of soon 2 children. So sometimes I find myself opting for more easy projects because I don't want hibernating projects. I don't think I'm going to be too scared of having a few projects that is hibernating, that maybe I get to start during the summer when we have the summer off, and I might get more time to knit continuously on a project, and then fall arrives, life starts again, and I have to put it in hibernation maybe for Christmas. And I need to shift my mind that I'm not abandoning or stopping that project. It's just waiting for the time. Before I had children, I had more time for those kinds of projects, and I did more big colorwork sweaters for my husband and stuff like that. But now I find myself not casting on or not buying yarn for those kinds of projects, which are pieces that would be like bigger heirloom pieces, stuff to really be proud of having made with my own hands. And I really want to get back into those kind of projects again, but just allowing myself to know that maybe it will take a year to finish that, because it's a background work in progress that I only have so much time and so many days to work on. And then something I've been telling myself for years I need to do, and that is find the time to fix issues with knit pieces, which brings me back to why I am wearing this ridiculously thick sweater inside my very warm house. Because this has a few issues and I wanted to use this as an example. I finished this My sweater, I believe, the summer of 2024. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous circular yoke. I have loads of issues with knitting circular yokes. I can just never seem to get them to fit the proper way. So this one I recently took the time to reblock because I couldn't remember if I ever blocked it. Which might be one of the reasons why I had so many issues with it, because I just had a lot of fabric, extra fabric, I would say, in like the yoke area. I find that that's a little bit better after blocking it, laying it flat, pinning it down, and just widening it. It makes it sit better on my body, but the sleeves are too long, so I have to like constantly roll them up, and this wouldn't take long to do to fix. Like it would just be to unravel it and knit the ribbings again, and just putting some maybe an elastic in. and just doing that work, because I have several sweaters I notice I never wear, which is maybe because the sleeves are too long, maybe the sleeves are a bit too short, maybe the body is too long, too short, I haven't put in an elastic, the buttons are missing, and stuff like that. So because I spend a lot of money on the yarn and a lot of time making the garments, it's just silly that the garment is sitting in a drawer somewhere not being used because of tiny fit issues that would be easy to fix. I'm trying to be better at it by doing like mid-project blockings to see if the sleeves are fitting the way I want. I try to unravel and rip back if the sleeves are too long. I can see during the process that the neckline wasn't picked up pretty, and I'm just trying to allow myself more time, not rush things, just to get a finished object, and just enjoying the process more, and knowing that I will be really happy with the fit of the garment and that it will actually have a space in my wardrobe, that I will actually use it. Because otherwise it's all just a waste of money, maybe, almost. Like, I really enjoy knitting in itself, but I also really enjoy getting the finished piece and being able to wear it. And that brings me to my last knitting intention for 2026, which is to actually buy buttons for my cardigans. I have a few cardigans lying around that I never use because they don't have buttons. I can never figure out what buttons I want. I can never find the buttons. After I bought them, if I bought them, I will have put them somewhere and don't know where. I need to be better at like putting the buttons in the project bag and getting the buttons when I'm getting the yarn, not thinking like, oh, I'll just bring the project back to the store and get the buttons then, because I never do. And I really want my projects to be finished and nice and wearable, and buttons is a big part of that when it comes to cardigans, that I would be actually able to close them, because not all cardigans are that like wearable when you are wearing them open. So maybe I would enjoy wearing cardigans more if I were able to wear them the way they were intended to be worn. So yeah, that is my last intention for 2026. I hope that this makes sense. I hope I am able to stick to them and that they will be my guiding light during this year that will probably just make my life even more chaotic when it comes to like everything, because we are adding a member to our family, which is both terrifying and exciting at the same time. Yeah, so if you have some knitting intentions, some goals, something you want to achieve with your knitting this year, please share them with me, because I find it really nice to hear what other people are thinking with their knitting for the upcoming year. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!